It's a 19-lap race here for the Moto2 field, and lots of riders to keep an eye out. That 61 machine there of Zacconi, keep an eye out for him. He's trying to fight it out for third in the championship. You also need to keep an eye out for the likes of Miguel Pons as well. He had a podium last time out in Albacete, and he'll be trying to match that up with another strong result here. We wait for the red lights to come on. And when they go out, we'll be underway for 19 laps here of Moto2 action in Valencia. It looks like Garzo's made a good start. Pons with a really good start too. And Zacconi on that 61, he's been able to get himself through up into third position on the run down in towards turn one. It looks like Garzo's been able to hold on to that whole shot with the number 55 there, Viari Montella, trying to get down the inside into third position. Good start from the leaders. They're all able to make it through the first corner nice and cleanly.
Yeah, nice start from Garzo. It looked like Pons just made a little bit of ground up there, but into turn one, it was that number 4 machine ahead. So job well done for him. I'm sure he'll now just be push all the way to the finish line. But yeah, you could see as well, it looked like Zacconi had made a really solid start there, but just got boxed out a little bit and lost out, especially in regards to Montella, who's now ahead of him by a couple of bikes. Yeah,
Montella on the speed up. His teammate Marcon on the speed up to number 10, able to get down the inside of Kazmadin as well. So the two speed ups in third and fourth position. And you can see with Marcon, Fran, he's just trying to make sure he's able to hang on to the back there of Edgar Pons. This is the 96, the teammate of Edgar Pons, Brendan Pash. He's doing a really good job to get himself up into the top 10. This is the first time ever out there on a Moto2 machine. And the British Moto Star champion, he's looking to try and see if he's able to make a move here to the CEV class full-time next season.
Yeah, good stuff, like you said, good progress, and immediately up there. You can see then the 61 of Zacconi with that pink helmet just a little bit bogged down compared to where he will have wanted to be. But at the moment, it's a pretty familiar story, at least in terms of the front two. It's Garzo and Pons, and Pons there in second, just stalking the number 4 in the lead. But Montella, great momentum and start there, and he's right up on the leaders at the moment.
Yeah, and it's great to see as well. We've got 3 different bikes in those leading 3 positions. The Tech 12 Garzo leads the way, and then it's the Calyx of Pons, and then the speed up of Montella in third position. Just about holding on to that. But look at Kazma able to be nice and aggressive down in towards turn one. Probably a little bit too aggressive, slid out a little bit wide, loses his positions as well. But Fran, the number 27 there of Kazmadin, he's been really aggressive all the way through this season. He's a rider always worth keeping an eye on.
Yeah, and it was a pretty nice move, but then just wasn't able to quite make it stick there on the exit, but did stay just about within track limits, which we've seen earlier today, not always easily done. But yeah, definitely one to watch. And at the moment then it's actually we're at the front with Montella not quite able to make that move, and it is his teammate right behind him. So that's, I imagine, a bit of a comfortable buffer for him in terms of trying to take third in the championship, because I imagine they have said, you know, at least don't skittle your teammate today.
Yeah, that wasn't the case last time out in Albacete whenever the 2 speed-ups came together. Oh, it looks like a crash. There is that Miguel Pons that's gone down on the run down in towards turn 8. It looks like it is Pons.
It is. It's a 77 that's gone down then. So rider up and okay, but yeah, big slide then, pretty spectacular puff of gravel, but he looks okay at least. Not sure if he'll be able to get that going again, just getting some of the gravel out of that machine. But that's unfortunate for him. They're so early in this race, last one of the year. Going to feel a bit down after that.
Yeah, unfortunately for Miguel Pons, having had a podium last time out, he's going to end the season in the gravel trap. But you can see his namesake there, Edgar Pons. He's just trying to apply that pressure onto Hector Garzo. Fran, Garzo's been fast all the way through this week. He's been leading the times pretty much in every session, claims that pole position, and this is his chance really just to try and lay down a bit of a marker to Edgar Pons.
Yeah, most definitely. I'm sure it will be absolutely everything on the line today from Hector Garzo. And yeah, he won't be afraid to fight it out either. We've seen that from him before. And at the moment, it's a job well done. Managed to take the whole shot and not look back, and not really been under too much threat from Pons either yet. It looks like more the speed-ups who are just sitting there nice and comfortably at the moment in third and fourth. Have to see if Montella can just try to get on a par with Pons just ahead of it and maybe make his life a little more difficult, which would certainly help out Garzo if he can stretch a bit of a gap and then manage to keep that.
Yeah, here's a replay of Pons, and just loses the front on the run down in towards the left-hander. It's a little bit downhill there. It's quite easy to actually lose the front, particularly in the early stages of the race, and just gets caught out there, does Miguel Pons. But the big thing for the riders at the front, Fran, is just to try and make sure they avoid those mistakes in these early stages, because Valencia can catch you out. It's gotten a little bit warmer now as the day's worn on and the winds died down a little bit, but it's still windy enough to really put a chill into these tyres.
Yep, it is, and that's Adrian Cerezo then, who's also gone down. Have to see. It looks like it's just him involved in that incident then. And I think I spoke too soon about the speed up, lads, because at the moment there's a little bit more daylight then between Pons in second and those two guys on the chase.
Yeah, just seeing a notification here as well. Sarmoon's going to get a long lap penalty. We saw him struggling to get underway in the warm-up lap. He then went to the wrong grid slot, and he's going to be given a long lap penalty for that infringement. As you said, though, Fran, those speed-up riders do look like they are just getting dropped a little bit here, like what we've seen through the course of this season. The top two are the top two for a reason.
Absolutely, yeah. They have been consistently the guys with the slightly superior pace here in this European Moto2 Championship. But at the moment, it does look like Garzo has the better pace of the two, though. Just being pretty comfortable in that race lead at the moment. But at the speed-ups then, it's going to be a bit of a conundrum soon. If Marcon thinks that he's got the better pace, is he going to sit there? Is he going to attack? Or what are they going to do? Because the man on track behind them, I believe, is the man they have to watch out for in terms of the standings, which is Alessandro Zaccone.
Yeah, if you're a Marcon, are you thinking about third position in the race or third position in the championship?
Well, third position in the race, of course. They are racers. But, you know, it's always an interesting one to watch play out.
Yeah, get down the inside, make those moves, and then try and just to let the championship take care of itself. The speed up there of Montella looks like he ran in a little bit too deep into turn 8. Is that going to open the door for Marcon to try and attack his teammate? Maybe not quite close enough at this stage, but you would imagine, Fran, if he shows half a wheel, that there has been a discussion there for Montella just to be making sure that he does move out of the way. That is Sarmoon. As you can see there, he's been given a ride-through penalty. We actually had on the notification screen a long lap penalty, so it'll be interesting to see which penalty is actually going to be given to Sarmoon, and he's going to at least find his way falling down the order one way or the other. He's in 6th position at the moment, Fran.
Yeah, a bit of a heartbreaker from 6, because that's a pretty solid job done so far. So you will have to see, can't quite see the dude with the board with the information on from where we're sat. But yeah, so he does definitely have to serve a penalty for that then. And you can see Marcon all over the back of Montella now. And I'm sure when he just saw his teammate go wide a few corners ago, that will have just only added to the incentive to try and get past him pretty soon. And you can see most definitely it's the number 10 at the moment that looks like he's got a little bit more pace.
Yeah, and you can see with the 55 of Montella just that he has held up his teammate as well. They've allowed the two race leaders to stretch out that big lead. It looks like Pons, though, he's the man that's really been able to find the pace over the last lap, and he's been able to close right up onto Hector Garzo's back wheel. It's a long race here, though, Fran. 19 laps for these Moto2 riders.
Yeah, it is a long race, and yeah, looks like Pons has really suddenly just reeled him in and pulled the pin a little bit to get back on turns with Garzo. And I thought from that camera angle a second ago that he was already going to lunge for it. But at the moment, though, still in second is the number 57, and these guys locked together with a pretty similar gap between them as well. I think one more little issue for Montella, and Marcon's going to be lining up and moving, going for it.
Yeah, you can see here with Sarmoon, he doesn't take the long lap penalty, and it looks like Race Direction has now updated their information there. It will be a long lap penalty for for Sarmoon, so we'll wait and see whether or not he's given that notice on his pit board as he comes across the line this time, and then he'll have to take the penalty next time around. But for Sarmoon, he finds himself in 6th position. The gap between himself and Zaccone, it's extended its way out to round about a second and a half. So for Sarmoon, he's just losing touch right now already, and for Kazmedine behind them, Fran, he could easily find himself just that little bit too far behind Zaccone as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see then Kazmedine going for a move. Oh, that's a nice quick switch back there, taking back the racing line almost immediately. You can see Kubo then, just the number 9 there, has a bit of a moment, going in a little bit too close to the number 27 ahead of him, but nicely collected, and not too much ground actually lost there for the tyre rider.
Yeah, square off that corner, try and get yourself shot out onto that start-finish straight, and just keep yourself in those fights. You can see with the two race leaders, Garzo on the number 4 machine, Edgar Pons on the 57. They've opened up a gap of about 2 seconds between themselves now and Yari Montella in that 3rd position. And for Tommaso Marcon, the goal has to be, Fran, just get yourself into that 3rd position. The gap between Marcon and Zaccone right now in this race, it's around about 5 seconds. So Zaccone's out of contention really in terms of fighting for those podium places unless something bad happens to the two speed-up riders. So it really is a case now just making sure that you're able to finish 3rd in this championship for Marcon. Only 2 points between Marcon and Zaccone as it stands right now.
Yep, only 2 points. So, yes, pretty tense times out there for the two speed-up guys in third and fourth at the moment. See, then it's still Montella there hanging on to it. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a move soon enough, because I think the number 10 definitely looks like he's got a little bit more pace in his pocket.
Yeah, Marcon does need to make the move as well, because on a count back, if the two riders do stay level on points, Zacconi will win on a count back because he won the opening race of the year in Estoril.
Exactly. So, yeah, this is, you can never really be equal in a championship unless you've done absolutely everything the same in the season, because if you are equal on points, it'll be wins or it'll be podiums, and then it'll just keep going and going and going until someone has done something slightly better than the other. So Zacconi's win definitely gives him that little extra ace in his pocket.
Yeah, the count back rules for different championships are always interesting. The best one I ever saw was in the Rugby World Cup, where it actually comes down to who's made the most penalties or who's had the most bookings and who's had the most sending offs.
Yeah, it
so
can
go
get
down to
pretty complex stuff to work stuff out, but I think Zacconi with that win, certainly, unless we have an absolute drama at the front of this race, it seems unlikely that Marcon is going to be able to equal that win at the moment, certainly. So, yeah, it will depend on these guys, though. Who knows if it comes down to that final corner. Big drama.
Yeah, and you can see here in the opening third of the race that Pons just doing a good job to shadow the race leader, Hector Garzo, and just being able to put himself into a position, Fran, just to keep the race leader honest. That really has to be the goal for Edgar Pons at this stage. We've seen all the way through the season, Pons, a really good tactician out there of just being able to understand the race around him. He's got tons of experience in this championship. That's Sarmoun eventually taking that long lap penalty, and he rejoins just down in the middle of that scrap. That looks like he's rejoined down behind Matteo Ferrari, so that'll be down in about 10th position for Sarmoun, losing 4 spots with the long lap penalty.
Yeah, when there are a few riders around you, it can be pretty expensive in terms of track position, that long lap penalty. But he at least took it fairly cleanly around there. We saw in Malaysia, Alonso Lopez, I think it was in Malaysia, not quite doing that long lap penalty within track limits, and then you have to do it again. So it is important to nail it first time around, which, yeah, he most definitely did, and rejoins then. Have to see if he can use that pace that he's shown so far to just try and get back past those riders he's lost out to.
Yeah, the long lap penalty, particularly at different tracks around this season, has been a real challenge, because sometimes it can just be very dusty, very dirty, and it can be a massive penalty, whereas other circuits where the tracks get a little bit more use, it can be at least a little bit cleaner and allow you to be a little bit faster through it. But you can see here at the front of the field, Fran, just how fast Garzo's having to be to try and hold off Edgar Pons. You can see how much both of these riders are riding aggressively and sliding on the entry, using all the engine braking, like what we've always seen in the Moto2 class, and they're just trying to make sure that they can scrub off as much speed, hold off the rider behind them, and then try and just squirt through on the exit. But for Garzo, hasn't put a foot wrong so far.
No, he hasn't. He's definitely taken the pressure pretty well so far, has Garzo. And he is pretty used to that 57 being right up behind him or just in front of him, and the pressure of either trying to keep up with him or trying to hold him off. So I think it should be a good one if it's going to go down to the wire. We've still got a long way to go in this race, so it may well be that one of them does have a little bit more pace than the other. But at the moment, pretty evenly matched still at the front, and Pons still just content to sit there and stalk his prey, as we've seen it pretty often so far this season. So that penalty then for Sarmoun means Kazmaidin has a little bit more breathing space around him in 6th position at the moment.
Yeah, Kazmaidin there on the number 27 machine, the Dynavolt bike, and doing a good job once again. He's just holding off the number 9 machine there of Kubo, but Kubo looks like he could be under attack on the run down in towards turn 1 here from Brenner. But in these Moto2 bikes, Fran, it's not like what we saw in the Moto3 race or in the European Talent Cup. It's a lot harder to try and make the moves down into turn 1.
Yeah, most definitely. It's not a case of 3 wide in there and just see what happens. A bit more of a, bit more tactician's mind needed for a few of these moves in Moto2. But at the moment then you can see Kubo able to keep that position. It is Kubo, not Okubo, although very, very similar in name. Definitely not the same dude.
Yeah, Karia Kubo, of course, a travelling fan club for him in the World Super Sport paddock. You can see Kevin Orr just coming into the pits there on his Yamaha machine. But at the front of the field, still Garzo able to hold off Pons. And Fran, this is exactly what he needs. This is practice for next week as well. Yeah,
definitely. It's all good for Hector Garzo, even just being back on track at this Valencia circuit and just reminding himself of every little bump and getting ready to try and take that Moto2 crown next weekend, as well as, of course, trying to take this race win. And he has been a race winner already this season, as he has been most seasons for quite a while. But definitely this one, though, will be a pretty big scalp to take, as Pons races without pressure and evidently at the moment more than able to keep up with the number 4.
Yeah, for Hector Garzo, he was, of course, race winner last time out in Albacete. He's been on the podium pretty much all the way through this season, from Aragon onwards, in Aragon, Jerez, Albacete, and now here this final round of the year in Valencia in position for it as well. He's just been that consistent thorn in the side of Edgar Pons. But those opening races of the year where he retired in Estoril and he only scored a few points in race 2 really has been the difference between the two title contenders. But at the front of the field, only 0.3 of a second between them.
It is, yeah. It's pretty much the mirror image of what happened to Edgar Pons last year. It was the first round of the season that really did for his ultimate title challenge then, when it was Jesco Raffin who took the crown. And yeah, Hector Garzo this year, just that first round in Estoril is really, like you said, what's dented that challenge, because there's a good few impressive finishes in his season this year, and I'm sure he's keen to add another one now. So, speed up, update on this battle as you were at the moment. Marcon still behind the number 55 of his teammate.
Yeah, Montella was quite strong here in Valencia at the start of the season, and it looks like he's finishing the season in decent form too. But for Marcon, he has to just be thinking in terms of those championship points and trying to make sure he's able to finish third in front of Zacconi. Zacconi, as it is right now, he's 5th, and the gap between himself and Marcon is around about 9 seconds now. But look at how close Marcon's come now in this middle sector here to be able to get right onto that rear wheel of Jari Montella in front of him. But for Marcon, Fran, he wants to make sure he makes the move clean. He doesn't want to put any doubt in this.
Yeah, like we said, I wonder what's exactly been said between those two before this race. But at the moment, he's in a good position. Like you said, it would be enough to wrap up that third overall with Zacconi. Yeah, quite a significant gap back to him now, and that's only extending. So it must be a little bit frustrating for the number 61 behind these guys to just see so much daylight ahead of him and know that it could well depend on something he absolutely can't control in this fight for third overall.
Yeah, and for Zacconi, just hasn't had the pace today to be able to get himself into that scrap. We could see there with Marcon though on the run down in towards turn 1, got it a little bit out of shape, just trying to use the engine braking like you always see in the Moto2 class. And just once that bike started to bite back, he just had to nearly sit up a little bit and just try and run in a little bit deeper. So Marcon's still pushing pretty hard at this stage of the race. You can see at the front of the field, Edgar Pons, he's pushing hard. He's a little bit faster last time around than the race leader, Hector Garzo. And Fran, this work gets really interesting for Hector Garzo. He's at the front of this field. He's riding as hard as he can. He's trying to make sure he can open up a gap to Edgar Pons. He's trying to make sure that if Pons makes a mistake, that he's there to take advantage of it, open up that race lead. But the big problem is he can constantly hear Pons. Every time he comes past the pits, he sees the gap to Pons is plus 0 seconds. He knows that Pons is right there with him. That pressure just builds all the way through a race.
It does. I'm sure by this point he's kind of just thinking like, right, well, that noise and that pressure is going to be there right until the end. Just concentrate on making as few mistakes as possible to try and keep that race lead. But it definitely looks like Pons just took a couple of attempts out of him last time around. It was visibly reduced, that gap, and the number 57 really breathing down his neck. And these guys, meanwhile, a bit of the opposite. It looks like Montella's just got a tenth or two back, but it could all change again into turn 1 here. And Marcon, if he can get a bit of a cleaner run through this time, may well be back right on the back wheel of his teammate.
Yeah, and Marcon does need to make the move because, as we said earlier on the countback, Zacconi would still manage to hold on to that third in the championship. So for Marcon on that number 10 machine, that's why you're starting to see him get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more out of shape. It looks pretty clear that Montella's not going to get out of the way for his teammate.
I think we can ascertain that by this point. I don't think the number 55 is going to be moving.
Yari's always been a little bit of his own man. We've seen it through the course of this season that he's been involved in a few instances, and he's going to make sure that his teammate Marcon earns that third in the championship standings. You can see at the front of the field, though, it is still a case of Garzo and Pons shadowing each other. Last time around, Fran, Garzo lost another tenth of a second, so Pons just keeps applying that pressure.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that's definitely a tactic from Edgar Pons. Just sit there and breathe down his neck and see if he can take it lap after lap after lap. But so far, Garzo pretty perfect himself. Really solid ride from him so far, and no real cracks in his armour. And you can see the championship, it would bring him to within 28 points. Obviously, Pons already crowned champion, too late for that charge. But Zacconi, that's a nice little amalgamation of those two names. Zacconi and Marcon, then you can see it would be equal on points, and it would be Zacconi, like we've said, due to that victory he took earlier in the season. taking third overall. So yeah, pretty close there, and it's pretty close between these guys as well. If it does finish like this, it's just 3 points at the end of the year that Pons ultimately took that crown by.
And you can see here for Pons just trying to get himself into a position to try and just keep applying that pressure on Garzo. Garzo a little bit wider this time on the run down into turn 1, so he's still trying to push as hard as possible. Coming into today, obviously, for Edgar Pons, the goal is just to be able to enjoy the final round of the year. For Hector Garzo, though, Fran, it's all about just trying to make sure that you're able to finish the year on a high. He wants that confidence before the Moto2 race next week here in Valencia, where he's trying to win that Moto2 Cup. But you can see here in the scrap for third, once again, we saw there Montella a little bit looser on the run down in towards turn 1. We're into the final third of the race now. Marcone's going to know that the clock's ticking down for him, and it'd be interesting to know exactly what his pit board is telling him, whether it's saying that you need to get yourself into third to be able to take third in the championship.
Yeah, because he also has to bear in mind that Zacconi win if he's doing some quick maths on the bike there. But yeah, it does look like he's now maybe looking a little bit more impatient behind his teammate, because yeah, a little bit of a scrappy lap last time around from Montella, and definitely I think we're going to see him move from the number 10 soon-ish, looking at the last couple of laps. But it will be interesting to see. Maybe he'll wait till the end, or yeah, I don't know. Look at them, they're absolutely glued together just in the back of shot, as are the two leaders.
Yeah, and you can see the gas man, Edgar Pons, just trying to make sure that he's able to just keep that watching brief in second spot. He's not quite close enough, Fran, to try and make a move. He hasn't even tried to get down the inside or show half a wheel to the race leader, Hector Garzo. It does just show how good of a job Garzo has been doing to be able to hold on to that race lead. Good performance from the number 4 so far as we move into the final third of this race. It
is, and I'm sure that's almost worse when you know he's right behind you and you know he's not trying to really make that lunge or attack you that much. Pons seems pretty confident that he'll certainly be able to stay with the number 4 to the end of the race, and that end of the race is getting closer and closer as the laps tick down. And you can see Garzo just looking like it's costing him a little bit more to try and stay ahead of the number 57 now. So oh, here we go then, we have a move, the first one so far of the race, and it'd be interesting to see now, does Pons think that he's got a little bit of pace to try and pull away now? Yeah, first blood now for Edgar Pons. He gets down the inside into turn 4, but is he going to be able to open up a gap, Fran? We've seen over the last few laps, he has been able just to keep that gap pretty constant to Garzo. Does he have a little bit more pace? Can he try and stretch out a little bit of a lead? What can Garzo do as well? Is he going to just try and answer straight back, or is he going to just try and keep an eye on what Pons is doing, see if he's going to have the bike underneath him to be able to attack him again? But for Edgar Pons there on the 57, he's now decided now's the time to try and pull the pin. He's going to try and push hard for 2 laps probably, Fran, and then he'll wait and see whether or not he's opening up of a gap or whether it'll go down to that last lap shootout. Yeah, most definitely. There must be a reason why Pons has chosen now to strike. Therefore, he must think that this is tactically the best way to do it, and maybe he does think he's got that little bit extra to try and pull away from Garzo, or at least just yeah, put in a few fast laps and just break the number 4 behind him. But at the moment, Garzo's still pretty close to his rear wheel, and you can see now, again, over the start-finish line, it's going to be closer than ever. You're almost one bike from that front camera view. And is Garzo then going to attack straight back into turn 1? I believe he is. Yeah, you can see Garzo down the inside into turn 1, but a little bit loose on the entry. Is he going to be able to hold that apex? Looks like he is, but Pons is going to be close enough to try and attack down in towards turn 2. Is Pons on the number 57 going to be able to get close enough? Not quite. Good riding there from Garzo, and he's been able to make sure that Pons has been put back in his place for now, and that Pons knows that if he's going to win this race, he's going to have to really earn it. This is where Pons made the move last time around. So, Fran, you would think that at this stage, these two riders, they're probably just trying to size each other up. They're like fighters in the ring, just trying to make sure that you're able to put yourself into a position to land that big blow to be able to win the fight. Yeah, definitely. But I would think that if Pons is willing to make that attack already, that he must think that he has got a little bit more pace, and that's also maybe why Garzo's chosen to fight pretty much straight back. But at the moment then, it's as you were, and not that much between them at all. And yeah, I think this, I hope this runs right down to the final corner, because I think it could be quite a good fight. Yeah, you want to see Garzo and Pons going toe-to-toe. You want to see them just really having a proper scrap here. These have been the two riders that have been the class of the field in the Moto2 European Championship through the course of this season, and you want to see them have that scrap. You want to see what happens here though as well, with Montella still able to hold off Marcon. Marcon needs to get through to finish third in this championship.
as it stands right now, he will finish joint third with Zacconi, but Zacconi will win that third place on the count back. So for the number 10 of Marcon, he knows the importance of trying to make sure he can make that move. This is Zacconi on the number 61 machine, currently in position to be able to finish third in the European Championship. And for Zacconi, he's had a pretty lonely race, Fran.
He has. He's in a bit of no man's land out there, is the Italian. He got a big gap in front of him to the two guys fighting over the final spot on the podium, but then also an awful lot of breathing space behind him as well. So he can at least not got too much pressure. He can at least not relax. Obviously, we're in a race, but yeah, try and race his race, make sure he minimizes his mistakes, and all he can do now then is hang on to the position that he's in, and it will all come down to what happens between these two speed ups.
Yeah, what's interesting as well, Fran, right now the pace at the front has dropped off. For the first time, they're lapping down in the 1:37. So right now, Pons and Hector Garzo just dropping the pace off. They're not trying to attack one another right now. They're just trying to make sure they can feel each other's out in these final few laps and then try and attack in the final 2 laps. But right now, they know they've got a comfortable gap to these two speed-up riders. You can see here with Montala in third position on the 55. He's not ceding those positions to his teammate. He's going to make sure Marcon has to earn these positions. And for Tommaso Marcon, Fran, he just hasn't really looked like even trying to make a move so far.
Yeah, he seems fairly content, if such a word can exist, like you said, within a race. But definitely not really look so tempted to try and make a move on the number 55 yet. But he does look a little bit more and more kind of, what's the word, threatening down there in fourth as the laps tick down. But I don't know, is he going to wait until the final lap, or is he going to wait for his moment and then try and pull out a couple of really quick laps to escape his teammate near the end of the race? We'll have to wait and see. But he certainly does look a little bit more comfortable at the moment, I would say. So it's interesting that he's not gone for that move yet. Yeah,
this is the closest we've seen him across the line as well. Is he going to be in a position to try and make the move down in towards turn 1? Again, he just comes out of that a little bit earlier.
Well, I was going to say, I think he was in the position to make that move and hasn't made that move. So obviously there is a bit of tactical thinking there from the Italian.
Yeah, and for Marcon, he's just trying to make sure that in 3 laps' time he's able to finish third and claim that third in the championship. But at the front of the field here, you can see Garzo and Pons still going at it, and they've been like this all the way through this race. There hasn't been anything more than a couple of tenths separating them all the way through proceedings. Just looking a little bit further down the order, bit of a shout out for Brendan Pash. He's doing a pretty good job there to be scoring points on his Moto2 debut, stepping on to a 600 for the first time. So good performance there from the American. And at the front of the field, though, it's been a great performance from these two, Garzo and Pons. They put on a show all the way through the season, Fran. They're putting on a show here for the final race of the year.
Yeah, they most definitely are. Really evenly matched out, and you can see they're coming up then to a back marker as well. That could be a little bit of a complicating factor, but hopefully they'll see that the leaders are coming. Yeah, that's good then, out of the way, and plenty of space for them to carry on their duel here. It's almost like a competitive track day for those two at the moment, just out in the space on their own, and they're still fighting it out.
Yeah, that's the number 29 of Pete the Pole just getting lapped. And of course, in the CEV Moto2 class, you also have those super stock riders as well. And Polish rider, one of those, just getting lapped there. But now with 2 laps to go, Fran, is this the time where if you're Edgar Pons, you try and make your move, or do you wait until the final lap?
I think with Garzo, I would wait until the final lap, to be perfectly honest. But it will be interesting to see, won't it? It was limited track time left now. I think this guy's going to wait until the final lap as well. Again, just looks like he's not really pushing on to try and get through there. So I think it's definitely going to be fireworks on the final lap of this race.
Yeah, you wouldn't fancy being inside that speed-up pit box right now. Zacconi comes across the line. He's in 5th position, a very lonely 5th position. But as it stands right now, he's 3rd in the Moto2 European Championship. He's level on points with Marcon. So for Zacconi, I'll tell you what, he's going to be hoping that his compatriot Jari Montala is able to hold on to that 3rd position and allow Zacconi to have that 3rd in the standings. It's been a good season for Zacconi, but as you can see here for Marcon, he's going to try and fight it out now with his teammate. This is the most aggressive we've seen him through this section as well, Fran. So Marcon finally trying to come alive here at the end of the race.
Looks like it. It's almost a 4-wheeled speed up then we've got at the moment in 3rd position. But yeah, definitely looking like he's looking for a way through now. But again, not taking the opportunities, because it's not like Montala's made any big errors since a first couple of ones earlier in the race. but definitely not really shoving that door open yet at the moment. Just content to still sit there, but he looks really like he's starting to line him up now.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and make that move down in towards turn one. That's where this is really key, just to try and make sure you're fast through the left-handers at the end of the lap. We saw with Marcon that he was close enough a couple of times, France, to try and make the move down into turn one. He's not close enough to make it here into the final corner, but is he going to be able to get a good drive here? He's right on that rear wheel. Is he going to be close enough to use that slipstream on the run down into turn one? We didn't really see him break deep into turn one at any stage through this race. Garzo gets through turn one, still in the lead as we move on to the final lap, and it looks like Montala's far enough in front to be able to hold on to this third position. So right now, if you're Marcon, you've got 4 kilometers to try and move yourself through and get yourself into third position to take that third in the standings. Edgar Pons, is he close enough to try and get down the inside into the right-hander? Good clean move from Pons. Is Garzo going to be able to answer back? Not down into the next corner, but maybe down into turn 6. Garzo might try and make the move, but Pons looks like he's pulling the pin, Fran.
He does. He looks like he's pulled the pin there, and it's going to be interesting then. I'm sure Garzo's going to throw absolutely everything at this, and I'm sure he will put in any lunge that he's even within the slightest possibility of making stick. But at the moment, the 57 looks like he's played his cards pretty well here and has got a few meters in hand over the number 4.
Yeah, Pons doing a really good job to get himself to the front, and he has managed just to stretch out a little bit of a lead now in this final half lap. Behind them, we're still waiting to see what's going on with the 2 speed-up riders. Marcon, is he still in 4th position behind Montala? He is, and he's now got half a lap to try and make this move. And this really is a case, Fran, where you've got to just try and make a move now.
Absolutely.
If you're Marcon. Is he close enough to try and get down the inside into the right-hander?
He's almost too close. That's almost what lost him a few meters in the final corner last time around. Just seemed too close to his teammate.
And the big thing is he's now got one last chance. It's into the final corner as Edgar Pons comes out of the final corner to claim this race victory. Another victory for Edgar Pons. He signs off his Moto2 European Championship with yet another victory. And the gas man picks up that win from his championship rival. But you can see here with Montala, contact with Montala and Marcon. Montala absolutely furious with his teammate, and Marcon comes across the line, takes 3rd position. But that might not be the last we see of that, because that was really on the limit there from Marcon as they come across the line. Zacconi comes across to finish in 5th position. He'll be beaten out for 3rd in the championship standings. And you can see there for Zacconi, able just to have a pretty solid season. He picked up a race victory in Estoril, but as it stands right now, he's 4th in the standings. And this man, Tommaso Marcon, is going to finish 3rd in the championship standings, having just about managed to beat his teammate across the line. Second best here to Edgar Pons through the course of today's running. You can see the gap as they came across the line. Not really too much to choose between them. That was the biggest gap we had all the way through the race, just 0.4 of a second. Edgar Pons able to shadow his rival all the way through, takes the race lead with half a lap to go, and then just tries to open up a little bit of a gap. As you can see there between Montala and Marcon, nothing to choose between them for much of the race, and indeed it was the contact across the line that made the difference. Marcon penalised from finishing 3rd to drop down to 4th, having exceeded track limits on that last corner. Zacconi finishes 5th, and he's been able to finish 3rd now in the European Championship as a rookie. So good performance there from the Italian rider. As you can see further down the order, points for Brendan Pash on his Moto2 debut. Also, Joan Diaz on that stock machine as well, able to score points. Pete the Pole able to get that final points paying position in 15th. And then the rest of the runners and riders just making their way through in those other points. But you can see here for Jari Montala, he's been able to claim that rostrum finish, and you could see just how annoyed he was by what had happened between himself and his teammate in those closing stages. But another podium for Montala. He was on the rostrum in Catalonia, and now his 2nd podium of the season. Hector Garzo, once again, unfortunately for Hector, he's finished 2nd best to his championship rival Edgar Pons. It's another podium though for Garzo, and he's been really strong all the way through the season, really consistent. It's just really been a couple of non-scores, one in Estoril and one in Catalonia, that has been the difference between himself and this man Edgar Pons. Pons able to finish on the top step of the podium once again. That's his 7th win of the campaign and his 9th podium from 11 races.